Another deep dive.
Always.
Okay, well, strap in because this one is, it's a little different.
Oh.
Yeah, this time we're only working with a single source.
Yeah.
It's an audio recording.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's in Spanish.
Yeah.
The title is Nueva Grabación 31.m4a. And let me tell you, this thing is...
What is it?
Well, it's full of mystery and intrigue.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's like listening in on someone's
Yeah.
intensely personal journey, almost spiritual, you know?
Right.
And so we're working from a translation, obviously, but even through that, the emotional punch is just undeniable.
I see. So where do we even begin with something like this?
Well, I think the first thing to point out is that we don't even know who the speaker is.
You don't?
No, which adds a whole other layer to this, right?
For sure.
But what we do know is that they keep repeating, yo soy.
Yo soy.
Yeah, which means I am anew. And anyone who's, spent any time looking into spirituality knows that that phrase holds some serious weight.
It's true. It's a very powerful statement in a lot of traditions.
Yeah, like a declaration, a foundation for everything that follows, right?
Right.
And what follows is really fascinating. It's a deep dive into the concept of divinity.
Divinity.
Yeah, but not just any divinity, but an inner divinity.
Inner divinity.
Yeah, it's like they're saying this divine presence isn't out there somewhere, but right inside us, waiting to be awakened.
Interesting.
And they talk about this divinity entering and becoming a total being, so it's not just about realizing this inner divinity.
Right.
It's about merging with it, becoming whole.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty powerful concept, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a theme that runs through a lot of spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
But it's always fascinating to see how it's expressed in different contexts.
Right, and in this case, it's even more interesting because they're speaking directly of someone named David.
David.
Yeah, like they're guiding him through this whole process.
Like a personal message.
Exactly. It's almost as if David's already tapped into this inner divinity, but there's an even bigger transformation on the horizon.
I see.
And emerging with a larger, more expansive aspect of this divine force.
So there are stages to this.
It seems that way, yeah. And get this, they're promising some serious life changes along the way.
Oh. Like what?
Well, they talk about the removal of doubt and fear.
Oh.
And the awakening of what they call divine senses.
Divine senses. I've never heard that before.
Me neither. But it's like they're painting a picture of a completely new way of experiencing the world.
That's incredible.
I know, right? Okay, so we've got inner divinity, a transformation on the horizon, and promises of these incredible shifts in perception.
Yeah.
Are you with me so far?
Absolutely. I'm hooked.
Good, because this is where things get really interesting.
They get more interesting.
Yeah, the speaker starts using some seriously evocative language, almost like biblical imagery.
Okay.
Things like crucifixion crossing the sky, resurrection.
Whoa. Okay, now that's something else.
Right. Talk about intense.
Yeah. So we've got sacrifice, transcendence, rebirth. It's like they're laying out a roadmap to some kind of spiritual transformation.
Exactly.
What do you think? Are they speaking literally, or is this a metaphor for some kind of internal process?
That's a great question. And it's one we might not be able to answer definitively, but it's definitely worth pondering, right?
For sure.
But while we're pondering that, let's not forget that this whole thing is infused with intense emotion.
Yeah.
The speaker clearly has a deep connection with this David person. I mean, they're constantly showering him with love and support, urging him to surrender to this higher power, to trust the process, and to let go of control.
It's a very personal message then.
It is, yeah. And it's really powerful even without knowing the full context,
I can imagine.
And think about that for a second. This idea of surrender, right?
Okay.
We're so conditioned to try to control everything in our lives. But what if true transformation comes from letting go? Letting ourselves be guided by something bigger than ourselves.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is, but it's also kind of liberating, don't you think?
I suppose so. In a way, yeah.
But here's the thing. While they're talking about these major transformations, they keep bringing it back to the present moment.
The present moment.
Yeah, they say that this moment is crucial, even though it seems insignificant compared to what's to come.
So the present moment is important, even though these big changes are coming.
Exactly. And there's this sense of urgency, too, like we're living in the last hours of something.
Oh, wow. Last hours. That sounds almost apocalyptic.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's this like unwavering love and optimism.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not doom and gloom at all. It's more like excitement for what's next,
That's an interesting mix.
It is. Like they say at one point, let's enjoy experiencing each one of these last hours of the human drama.
Human drama.
Yeah. It's like watching the final act of a play, right?
Okay,
You're on the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen, but also savoring every moment.
I like that analogy.
Me too. And then they just drop these little intriguing details.
I quit.
Things like enjoying our energy for the first time brought to this planet.
Yeah.
God walking upon this planet.
Okay, now that's a big one.
Right. It's like they're hinting at a cosmic shift, a merging of the divine and the human.
Yeah, this is getting pretty wild.
I know, right? And remember, this whole thing is addressed to David.
Oh, right, David.
They're constantly reassuring him, calling him my beloved human, my privileged being, well-loved.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredibly personal and tender.
It makes you wonder about their relationship, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and that just adds to the mystery of this whole thing, right?
Definitely. I mean, what's their connection? Why this message? What prompted them to record this?
Exactly. It's like we're only seeing a tiny sliver of a much larger story.
That's for sure.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. It's like we're putting together a puzzle, but with a lot of missing pieces.
I could see that.
So we're left with so many questions. Who is this voice? What's the relationship with David? What's the backstory here?
Right.
And most importantly, what does it all mean?
What does it all mean? That's the big question, isn't it?
It is, and that's what we'll be exploring further as we continue our deep dive.
Okay, I'm ready.
But before we move on, let me ask you this. What stands out to you so far? What are you most curious about?
Well, I think, one thing that really jumped out at me was how they weave these grand spiritual pronouncements with surprisingly practical advice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like, for example, they actually discouraged David from pursuing a romantic relationship.
Really?
Yeah, suggesting it'd be distraction from his spiritual path. It's like they're helping him pray or focus on the bigger picture.
That's interesting. It's like they're saying, hey, David, there's a time and place for everything. And right now, your focus needs to be on this transformation.
Right, exactly.
It adds another layer to the relationship between the speaker and David, doesn't it? It's not just about spiritual guidance.
Bro.
It's also about practical life advice.
Yeah, like a mentor or a guide.
Yeah, they really care about him, don't they?
They absolutely do. They clearly want what's best for him, even if it means making tough choices.
Right.
And, that brings us back to that central theme of surrender.
Surrender, yeah.
Letting go of control, trusting the process, even when it comes to matters of the heart.
It's a challenging concept,
It is.
but maybe there's a profound freedom in it, too.
Maybe so, yeah. It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. What if we applied that same principle to other areas of our lives? What if instead of clinging to our desires and expectations, we surrendered to the flow of life, trusted that things would unfold as they should?
Whoa, that's a scary thought.
It is, right?
Yeah, I mean, we humans, we love to feel in control. But what is, as they say in the recording, the real control comes from aligning ourselves with that divine force within? What if true power lies in surrender?
Oh, wow. Mind blown. I need a minute to process that one.
I get your time.
Okay, but while we're contemplating the profound implications of surrender, let's not forget the elephant in the room.
Oh, right.
Or should I say, the mystery voice on the recording. We still don't know who they are or their connection to David.
True. Very true.
It's like this giant question mark hanging over this whole deep dive.
A big one.
So, what are your thoughts? Any theories?
Well, it's all speculation at this point, but the depth of emotion, the intimacy of the language, it suggests a very close bond.
Yeah.
Maybe a parent, a mentor, a spiritual guide, someone who's known David for a long time, witnessed his struggles and triumphs.
Yeah.
Someone who truly believes in his potential.
That's a compelling thought. And given the spiritual nature of the message, it's tempting to imagine the speaker as some kind of enlightened being, someone with access to knowledge and wisdom beyond our comprehension.
I can see that.
But maybe it's something simpler, more human. What if it's just someone who loves David deeply and wants to see him thrive?
I love that perspective.
Right.
Yeah, it reminds us that profound wisdom doesn't always come from gurus on mountaintops.
Right.
Sometimes it comes from the people who know and love us best, the ones who see our potential, even when we doubt ourselves.
And that's what makes this recording so universally relatable.
It is, yeah.
Whether you believe in spiritual transformation or not, we all have people in our lives who believe in us, who guide us, who challenge us to be our best selves.
That's true.
They may not use the same language as the speaker in this recording, but the underlying message is the same. You are loved, you are capable of great things, and you don't have to go through this journey alone.
Beautifully said. And, listening to this recording, I can't help but wonder about David.
Me too.
Who is he? What's his story? Is he aware of the impact this message is having on us, the listeners, as we try to decipher its meaning?
Right. What if somewhere out there, David is going about his day completely unaware that his personal journey is sparking these deep conversations, prompting us to question our beliefs and consider new possibilities?
That's mind-boggling.
It is. It really speaks to the interconnectedness of our lives.
Yeah.
The ripple effect that our experiences, even the most private ones, can have on others.
That's true.
We may never know David's full story, but through this recording, he's become a part of ours.
And that is the magic of a good deep dive.
It is. We start with a single source, a mysterious audio recording, and end up exploring profound themes of love, surrender, transformation, and the power of human connection.
That's the beauty of it.
But wait, there's one more thing we need to address before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember all those cryptic phrases we talked about?
Oh, you mean like throwaway lines almost?
Right, exactly. Enjoying our energy for the first time brought to this planet.
Right, and the last hours of the human drama.
Oh, yeah, and God walking upon this planet. It's almost like a whole other layer to this mystery, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Like little hidden clues sprinkled throughout. And it's tempting to want to connect the dots.
Right.
Come up with a grand unified theory of what it all means.
Yeah, but maybe that's missing the point, right?
Maybe so.
Maybe the real message is less about decoding the specifics and more about just being open to the possibility of something bigger than ourselves, something beyond our current understanding.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about expanding our awareness, questioning our assumptions, and acknowledging that there might be more to reality than meets the eye.
Absolutely. And that's where this deep dive gets really interesting for me because it's not just about analyzing someone else's spiritual experience. It's about reflecting on our own beliefs and perspectives.
I couldn't agree more. I mean,
Yeah.
listening to this recording, I found myself asking, what if I received a message like this? What would I do?
Right.
Would I just dismiss it as nonsense? Or would I embrace it wholeheartedly?
Or would you do what we're doing now and try to dissect it, make sense of it through your own lens of understanding? It's a tough question. And I think the answer probably depends on our individual beliefs, our life experiences, our openness to the unknown. But one thing's for sure, this recording doesn't leave you indifferent.
No, it definitely doesn't.
It stirs something within you, whether it's curiosity, skepticism, or a sense of wonder.
Absolutely. And, that's the mark of a truly powerful piece of communication.
It is.
It sparks a conversation. It makes you think.
Yeah.
Challenges you to look at the world a little differently.
Well said. So here we are at the end of our deep dive, and I have to admit, I'm left with more questions than answers. Who is this voice? What is their relationship with David? What prompted them to record this message? What does it all mean? We may never know the full story,
Yeah.
but maybe, just maybe, that's the beauty of it.
Perhaps the true value lies not in finding definitive answers, but in the questions themselves. The questions that lead us to deeper introspection, to a greater awareness of ourselves and the mysteries that surround us.
It's a reminder that the journey is often more important than the destination, and that sometimes the most profound insights come from embracing the unknown.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. What resonates most with you about this message?
Yeah.
If you were to receive a message like this, what would your reaction be?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep an open mind.